Hello, this is Moses Jacobs for DeBarra Spoken Word, and I'm talking with our last speaker of the year 2025, Mr. Colm Scully, all the way in Cork. And you will be our special guest on 17 December, a Wednesday, of course. And one of the reasons, or the main uh, impulse, was because you've not so long ago published a new book, Neanderthal Boy. I think it appears in Mirror, but it says Neanderthal Boy anyway. And I think a member of your family created this face. Is that true?
Yeah, that was my daughter Isabel.
Okay.
She made that for her transition year
Okay.
subject. So it wasn't specifically a Neanderthal boy, but when I saw it, I kind of knew that I was going to use it because I had the idea that Neanderthal Boy was going to be the title of the book.
Okay, that is very interesting because that's one of the things I wanted about because you actually have two poems in this book dedicated to the Neanderthal phenomenon. Is this how many is this your second or third or fourth
This,
collection?
this is my second collection.
Okay, and the first collection I've got it, but what was the name of it?
It's called What New Centurions.
Oh, okay,
So um,
because let's start with what is a name
if you look
first.
there, I mean, I kind of keep to the theme of a face.
Yeah.
So
Oh
it
yes.
was kind of interesting to stick with a face again for my
Okay.
second collection.
Okay, but you've gone back in time, I think.
Yeah, and What New Centurions
Nice.
is going to Roman times, and I suppose I go all the way back then to primordial times for Neanderthal Boy.
Okay, because the Neanderthal boy itself has been written from the perspective of a Neanderthal boy, is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, the poem, yeah, the one
Yeah.
poem in it, yes.
I mean, you do that quite often that you sort of embody other people in other time, which is very interesting, like a funeral.
Yeah, I take on a lot of personas
Yeah.
and voices in my poetry. Not all of the poetry, but I suppose about maybe 50% of the poems are probably, or maybe of the poems in the book are in the voices of maybe someone from history or some character,
Yeah.
um, or maybe just somebody on the a bystander in history. Uh,
And I mean, when you say you embody, how far do you go when you do that? If you're a Neanderthal boy, how do you picture yourself as Neanderthal boy? What do you do?
I don't really. I just try and get myself in the mind of a
Okay,
Neanderthal.
that's what I wanted to ask. How do
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
mind of a Neanderthal
I,
boy?
I'm not a method poet or anything that I dress up as a Neanderthal. I don't go that far. But
You don't need to.
no. Uh,
Sorry, this was me. I should have thought that. Anyway,
yeah, someone said it was a close likeness. All right, but
no, nothing of this.
but no, it's just something I suppose I'm interested in history. I'm interested in
Yeah.
philosophy, and I'm interested in science as well as poetry. So, all of these things kind of fascinate me. So it just seems natural for me to try and find a character from history and just as a way of as I suppose a different way of looking at humanity, really, and see. The only reason I'm taking on the character of a Neanderthal boy is, I suppose, trying to understand what my life is like now, or how I exist in the world.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's
so
it's
that's the whole
it,
purpose, really.
it's ultimately all about you.
Or us, I suppose, or maybe not
Us.
specifically me, but us really as
Yeah,
humans.
yeah, 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 yeah. And because for how long ago did Neanderthals live where?
Well,
Something in it about them not mixing with
yeah, well, it's like Neanderthals were not, they're not they're not our direct ancestors. They were like humans, but they coexisted at the same time as us, which were Homo sapiens sapiens, but they died out. But then there is a theory that they may have interbred a little, or else they may have been wiped out by humans. So I suppose really it's, and the funny thing is that whether I'm meant to or not, there's quite a few poems in the book about war. and violence. And Neanderthal Boy is really about violence because it tries to go back to the time of Neanderthals and imagine them battling with humans. And then I suppose I'm trying to say that we have been fighting all since we existed as humans, and we're still fighting, unfortunately, in
Yes.
wars. So
Yes.
it's kind of trying to get an insight into that, really.
And because you'd think that if humans and Neanderthals were living at the same time and they're not related, so that is something that they look at the DNA. I don't know how they can say that, but wouldn't it still suggest that we have a common ancestor?
We have a common ancestor, yes. Obviously, yeah, we have a common ancestor,
Yeah.
but their branch died out.
Okay, and
Ours
they were
didn't.
significantly different from humans in the way they.
I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose I'm not getting into the nitty gritty of it. I suppose really what it is that, like, I suppose we exist as humans, as a species, because we're part of the chain of life. I mean, we go. You could go back as far as you want to the first single cell. So I suppose it's exploring just the whole nature of humanity. I'm not trying to make any big answers or anything, but just exploring it.
Okay, and what did you discover about violence from the what you did with the poem? And did you do a lot? Do you always do extensive research?
I wouldn't say huge, extensive research, but I feel that I do a little research. But being a poet, I feel you don't have to be 100% accurate in everything. I mean,
Yeah,
you can. That's why we're writing poetry. I'm not writing dissertations on Neanderthal Boy. I'm not
yeah.
writing scientific dissertations. I'm just trying to explore it. And that's interesting. You say that. What did I find out? And I suppose I could say that I started off writing that. I actually wrote a number of poems exploring different aspects of humanity back at that time. Neanderthal Boy, Cro-Magnon woman, she's in the book
Okay,
as well. The Neanderthal. I had a bunch of other ones as well. And like I have a poem in the book called Evolution, which is obviously connected then to Neanderthals and human Homo sapiens. And I have a poem in the book called Homo sapiens sapiens. But you ask, what did I find out? And that's an interesting question because I think when I wrote that book, that poem, Neanderthal Boy, I probably started out just picturing myself, putting myself in the mind of a Neanderthal boy and writing a little poem. And I think I didn't find out anything until I got to the end of the poem. And at
okay,
the end of the poem, I say, um, the gods say someday they will turn on themselves.
okay.
So I suppose I just think I'm after learning something there that about humans that we have been violent all through our existence. It's not just something that we have developed over the last 700 or 2000 years.
Okay,
And
and do you feel
I kind of discovered that through writing the poem, I think myself.
yeah?
That's a personal insight. I mean, it's not a great insight that the world should know, but it's just a personal insight.
And if you say turn on themselves, I mean all wars are humans turning on each other.
Yeah, I suppose I say, yeah, exactly.
And what is the difference between us turning on each other and us turning on ourselves?
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean.
Does
I
that
suppose
mean
that's just,
that do you expect a kind of global suicide?
well, who knows? I mean, like we were on the verge of that, weren't we?
Yeah.
Like in many times, I mean, the last 100 years, what would you call it except nuclear proliferation and all of these things? I mean, I don't know whether we will.
I mean,
There's
the
no
way the
reason
way
why.
we treat nature is obviously not very good for our own survival, basically.
No, it isn't.
No.
Like we don't always make the right decisions.
Oh, you could say that again.
You
You
know.
have a poem called the Neanderthal, which I believe is about abuse, sexual abuse. Is that correct? Or
No, but
no?
there again, people can read what they want into poems. Like I suppose that's the nature of poetry, really, isn't it? I mean, I never heard that before now, Mose, but um, it's not about sexual abuse. That's not what I wrote it about. But if people find, I mean, if people read into poems what they want, that's okay. I have no problem with that.
Can you say a little bit what sparked the, I mean, I can understand.
It's again. At the time, this is a couple of years ago. I was writing these poems, so I suppose I was exploring what it might like to be living at that time. And the Neanderthal is actually in from the voice of a human woman
Okay.
who had a relationship with a Neanderthal.
Okay. So this is about a real Neanderthal, not about a contemporary human resembling a Neanderthal. That's what I thought, you see.
Um, no, it's actually at the time, so it's set at the
Okay.
time.
Okay. Okay.
No, so maybe is there confusion? Are people saying that like I suppose when I was younger, maybe uh, the word Neanderthal kind of
An insult?
was sorry.
An insult?
An insult,
Yeah.
exactly. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, it was an insult, and it was kind of if you were a Neanderthal, you were you were very an ignorant, kind of stupid person. But uh, I don't really use that reference in the book, so maybe it's confusing for people. But I'm just refusing. I'm actually referring to the Neanderthals as a species,
Yeah, 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 yeah. You
and
have
so in
scientific
this.
view.
Yeah. So the Neanderthal in this case is some is the poem The Neanderthal is a female human having a relationship with a Neanderthal at the time, a couple of hundred
But
thousand years ago.
she's human and he is a Neanderthal.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. So that would have happened. That could have happened.
that could have happened. Yes,
Yeah. Okay. But it was taboo in that
it
time.
was taboo,
Course.
and that's what it's all about. But I suppose then it's just there's taboos today as well. So I suppose
Yeah.
it's trying to do parallels between taboos today and taboos here. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still lots of taboos about people having relationships with other types of people in different people, in different people's minds, obviously.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
So
Very.
that's what it is simply about.
Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up.
With
And because you wrote, how many years ago did you actually write it? Because there's a poem about lockdown 2020.
yeah, I suppose that's the only poem in it about lockdown, and someone suggested I should put it at the end. So that poem was written in about 2020, yeah. And
But
it's kind of my lockdown poem, really. I say everybody had a lockdown poem, I'd say. But that was my poem, and I spent a bit of time at it. But I wanted to put it in my collection. But at the
it
time,
it
everybody had a poem about lockdown, so I suppose
yeah.
maybe it was boring at the time to have poems. But nonetheless, I felt that it kind of reflected my view on lockdown at the time.
No, it's quite a, I think it quite a beautiful poem, but and it's very descriptive, but also in a way it fits in with the historical theme because at the moment I think we're looking at that as a kind of history. A long time ago there was a lockdown.
Yeah, yeah,
Fortunate that we can look back on it.
exactly.
And you have a, I mean, if you talk about your life, you have a scientific background.
Yeah, I was an engineer. I am in. I was an engineer for 30 years, a chemical
Yep.
engineer.
Yeah. And what does a chemical engineer do?
I worked in the chemical industry. I worked for an American and mostly American and British multinationals here in Cork. I also worked in the food industry, and we basically make pharmaceuticals. So I worked in factories, um, uh, running processes and designing processes for making pharmaceuticals,
Okay.
raw pharmaceuticals.
And how long ago did you retired, didn't you?
Um,
Retirement or
I hate the word retire. I like to say that I changed careers
okay.
because I'm young, and So I changed about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I was the last time I worked in the chemical industry.
And now you are a poet. You're
Full-time poet
poetry films.
and filmmaker, poetry filmmaker, and I lecture on poetry film. I give courses on poetry films as
Yeah.
well.
Are you doing any courses in the new year?
Yeah, hopefully in Ashton, in here in Cork, I give night courses. So hopefully that'll be going. We just finished the course last week, and we'll be doing another course for another 8 weeks in January
Okay.
in Ashton College in Blackrock.
And to be clear, poetry films are made by poets to accompany their poetry, or do you have other different setups as well? People not
Anybody can make a poetry film. I mean, a poetry film can be made by someone who's not a poet, and you can make a poetry film about someone else's poem. So really anything goes. It's basically all it is combining the word and the visual.
okay. And that's a bit simple. I mean, when would you say something is not a poetry film?
If there's no words there, if you can't find a poem in it,
Okay.
the poem could be very short. It could be a haiku. You could have a haiku in a 10-minute film, and I would say it could still be a poetry film. It's how you approach it, really. I mean, different people have opinions on this, but I've seen short films with no words in them, and I've accepted them into competitions because I think they're very poetic. But
Okay.
some people would say no, they wouldn't accept them unless they had a poem of some sort.
Okay.
As you know yourself,
Interesting.
poems can be lots of different things.
Yeah, that's true. And can a poetry film be prosaic?
Can be prosaic, yeah, as
Prosaic,
in
probably.
prose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can. Absolutely, because there's an awful lot of prose poetry out there.
Okay. So it can be very sort of like a documentary.
Yeah, actually, that's an interesting point because one of the last poetry film I made was kind of a documentary poetry film, and the winning poetry film in the Ovale Poetry Film Festival about a month ago was a documentary poetry film, which actually had a little documentary. It was only about 10 minutes long, but it had a poem for about a minute, and then it had a little documentary.
Was that by the Palestinian?
Yes.
Yes, because that's one thing that no, that strikes me. I mean, you talk about war, and there is the last poem I think is about Syria
Yeah.
or a collection, but there is no mention of Gaza. Is there
No, because I suppose really, no, all the poems were collected together before Gaza started, really.
for the current round?
Yeah, before
Yeah.
the current, like, I suppose it's funny, like, I'm not really a political poet, but obviously sometimes you have to be political. But I don't love political poetry as such. But then some people might say all poetry is political, but I don't love, it's very a thing that's outrightly political in nature, or making it a statement. And I suppose I prefer poetry that lets other people decide, no matter how black and white the scenario might seem.
Mm.
So I did put a poem about Syria in there because I kind of liked the poem, and obviously I felt hopefully it was an objective poem. But
It's funny because I mean it does feel objective, but it's also written from subjective
yes,
uh
person's point of view.
yeah. But I mean
So
it's exactly the same about Gaza.
yeah, you could, yeah, you
But
could.
yet people then talk about it being political. Why?
No, no. I mean, I'm totally for anti the Israel anti the Israeli invasion of Gaza and all of
Okay.
that. But I suppose I not talking about Gaza specifically. I don't want to talk about Gaza specifically, but like I wouldn't write a poem giving out about Fianna Fáil, for instance,
Okay.
whether I believe it or not, because I think that kind of politics is it's very shaded. It's easy to take one side over another. Whether I have my beliefs, right, obviously, and my political beliefs, but I just don't, I don't, some political poetry can be very, very powerful.
Okay.
But no, I suppose my opinion is that one of the major problems in the world today is, as someone said, is certainty.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer to write poetry maybe that explores the margin. It's between, different things. Because we can be very certain about things, and everybody's very certain about their way in the world, about their political views. But for that reason, I kind of shy away from political poetry. I don't like to write political poetry, but as you say, you could say Syria is a political poem.
Well, you can see not exactly the same, but you can see the same forces at work in across the Middle East. It's all political.
It is all political.
Our own world also, it's all political. But anyway, I would like to finish with, there's a poem, that's an interesting poem. I mean, there's loads of really interesting poems. And the poem called Purpose.
Yeah.
I think it is your scientific mind in conversation with another part of your mind, or am I wrong about that?
Say that again.
Is it your scientific mind in conversation with another part of your mind, or purpose, or is that that's not how you read it, obviously?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's kind of an internal dialogue in my own mind about um about and it's hard sometimes to put this in plain words. It's about progress. It's about us as humans again, and the way we think we're always progressing. The whole theory that we're always getting better, like that the world is very, it's very human centric. The thought processes in the world, whereas I suppose the evidence from science, as I see it, is that there is not necessarily progress isn't always happening. There isn't always a purpose for everything. And, that's not a new theory or anything. I mean, a lot of people believe that, obviously if, you may believe if you're religious and you believe in God, then you feel there is purpose and there's a purpose in life. I'm not saying that there's no purpose in life. You can find a purpose in life, but if you look at existence, I suppose I'm saying it's hard to find purpose or reason in it. And that's what I'm trying to say there.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay.
So you can take it. Sorry.
We've had religion, we've had politics.
Yeah. I'm trying to cover too much, I think.
Can I finish by asking, because you're part of Obail Govale?
Yeah.
Pronounce it rightly now?
Yeah, Obail Govale.
Yes, can you tell a little bit about Ovail? Because Ovail has been like a kind of role model for the DeBarra spoken word, especially when it started, when Nick Smith started it. So, and obviously, we collaborate quite often in terms of Coventry or the Winter Warmer Festival or whatever, and poets from Cork sometimes come to the DeBarras, to Clonakilty, like yourself in September.
No, so it's great that we're kind of doing a lot of things together more recently with the DeBarra. So that's brilliant, and I think so Ovail Gabale is basically the successor of Ovail. So we still do our monthly readings, and we also have poetry films, and I run those poetry films. I show an hour of poetry films at the start of our monthly readings every month. The second Monday of every month. So, and I have an open call, so anybody can send in their poetry film to me, and as long as I think it's reasonable, I will show it.
Okay.
So there's an opportunity there for people who are interested in making poetry films to send in their stuff. So, and then there's we do exactly really then what DeBarras do. We have we have a 5-word challenge, which you don't have, but then we have a guest and we have an open mic. And
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it there the other day, actually. Like, what are we doing, you know? And just the same with the bars. And what if you quite apart from poetry, and what we could say we're just poetry open mics or poetry sessions, but what it really is it's an arena where people can come, they can talk their minds, say exactly what they want in whichever way they want, and they're not being judged, and
Yeah,
everybody
that's
listens.
yeah.
And there is very few arenas like that. I mean, social media is no longer that arena, so there is no judgment, and there's no censorship really. So I think that's what we're doing. I think you might agree. It's an arena for people to speak their
Yeah,
minds.
I do
And
agree.
so
Yeah.
it's a very democratic place.
Yeah.
And that's in essence what we're doing,
Yeah. And I should say that like sometimes people come up with small stories or whatever. It's not complete. The bars is not completely poetry, but we tend to lean that way. And we'll certainly have an open mic on the 17th of December, when you are the special guest. And also we will be inviting people who have self-published their own poetry. Did you? No, you're not self-published. You're with
No.
Wordsonthestreet.
Yeah.
But if people have poetry books they'd like to sell because they're either self-published or because they are selling their own poetry books for the publisher, which is also a model, then we invite them to come to the Barras on that day and bring some of their books, and we'll have a bit of a time so they can talk to the audience and people can buy their poetry Christmas present.
Exactly. That's a good opportunity to buy
Yeah.
it for a Christmas present.
Okay, Colm, thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you on the 17th of December, Wednesday, at the Bar Spoken Word in Clonakilty.
Thank you, Mose.